I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
She absolutely does. She doesn't miss a trick. Okay, I don't know. I hit the stream. Well, here I am. I was having trouble with the streaming software on here, and that's what the problem was. And I don't know. I went to hit live again, did this and that, did this and that, and I don't know. Here I am. I don't know what I did right and what the hell I did wrong before this, and well, hopefully I could do it again. I'm not really sure. All right, we got one viewer on here now. Nobody even knows compared to my older days, whether I'm on or not, because I'm not that many people subscribed, 45 people. That's a start, but start to an end, I don't know. We got another straggler in here. Okay, the problem is that okay, I don't have all right, I don't have the live chat on here. Edit. I don't want to mess anything up. Let's see if I could remedy this or not. Made for kids, category thumbnail, people and blogs, playlist, audience, da 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 da. Anything else? Tags, I didn't put. Okay, hold on. Well, damn. Let's see. Playlist, I'm going through everything here. Let's see. Tags, I've just been through this before. Okay, I don't know. Up on here. Okay, well, I don't have the comments section. Thanks for the thumbs up there. And I don't know if I could do that midstream. So you're just going to have to suffer it out a little bit here. I was watching a few of Big E's videos, Germany and Portugal, whatever. I said, yeah, it's nice to be able to travel to these places. We're not all in that position to do that. Now, I didn't want to get into politics and all that stuff. He still supports the foundation of that Barry has served too long and being incarcerated. To him, I said, I don't make the rules. I don't want to really get and all that crap. I just wanted to mention this, that there's been kind of wise mouthing from his cell and basically threatening me again. Just why I don't, I'm not a bleeding heart with this guy, because it's nonstop with him. I mean, if they could give him more years, I'd be happy about it, really. But the difference between me and Big E on this matter is Big E feels that he served too much time just for immigration. But Big E didn't understand it's not just for immigration. Now, I don't control the court. You got to remember, Barry pleaded guilty to 5 crime counts. So obviously, the court found him guilty, that he did something guilty in this country. I didn't sentence him. I just want to get this out of the way. Just record. I didn't sentence him. Barry sentenced himself. I didn't put a gun to his head and say, hey, plead guilty. He pleaded guilty on his own, figuring he was going to get out pretty soon. But he was going to get the money to get out of there. Now, my conflict with Big E is that well, it's like this. Big E, that kind of money that Barry owes the court and me, that's lint in his pocket. And if he feels you know, so pro Barry being free, then why don't he just pay it? Disregard to the fact that some of the money's going to me. That's the thing that he can't get over or anybody else. I'm not going to get rich on Barry going free and actually paying the court and paying the damages to me. I'm not going to get rich on it. 250,000 pesos is not getting rich, you know. But if anybody feels strong enough that he has served enough time, it's really according which side of the fence or door that you're on to kind of come up with that conclusion whether he served enough time or not. But the thing is that Big E knows the history of this guy. He knows very well. He knows very well. And as I wrote to Big E on his own channel, and I told him, I said, "Well, look, I'm no priest, but I've never done anything like this guy did. Okay, and not just to me, but stores, businesses, private people, women, the whole bit. We all know the history of that. Get that straight. So basically, what I'm saying to Eric is that maybe he'd put the money out if none of it was going to go to me. Well, Eric supposedly has a lot of money. I assume he does because he travels around quite a bit. Well, his job takes care of some of the trips on a business trip, I would imagine. But he has, he's not broke, and we know that. So if you feel that strongly about Barry, just free him. Over with. Fuck what he owes me. Like I said, I'm not going to get rich. Thanks for the other thumbs up. I'm not going to get rich on 250K. And here's the thing, Eric's been battling Gates, or his wife has been battling with Sweet Skates, and they're trying to find a case against her. But I don't know what they were doing with that. I don't follow it. There was some crap going on with that. But look, as like I said, I was no angel on YouTube, but I never did anything like Barry did. Sure, I've thrown a few words to Barry here and there. There's a big difference, and whether they're going to do it every single day for 3 years, and it's what he said. It's not the just a concept or idea of what he said. What he said was very hurtful, not to my heart, not to my soul, in a legal sense, in a moral sense, and he has no moralities. Anybody that. Okay? I mean, you could bust up a family, you could bust up friends if you were at work and still a working person, you could ruin their job. So if you can't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't have to go down this road again because I've been through the years, past few years, I've been going through this before. He is where he belongs. He is where he belongs. I truly feel that. I know a lot of people do. Anyway, we can move on with that. There's been so much. Anyway, what's the 11? Correct. Yeah. Well, sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds great. There's a COLA of 2.8, which is chicken shit. But when if you kept your Medicare Part B, they're raising it up. So you know how it goes. Give it one hand, take with the other. That's exactly what's going on. So although you might be getting a 2.8% raise, they're also raising the Medicare Part B. That's just the way it is. Now, I've listened to some shows that finally make sense anyway, although they've been very repetitive. And they are talking about the cost of living. Don't worry, I'm not going through this laundry list of how much food is and everything else. It's just make a general blanket statement about it. it is true that the cost of living in the Philippines and everything that's going on with tourism. Well, first of all, they got rid of the pogos and continually do so. Uh, they contributed to the economy. Okay, that's a good thing to get rid of the pogo workers. Excellent, but the problem is with that is if you add that to everything else that's going on. We've had the earthquakes going on and storms, and people are thinking, nah, maybe I don't know, something big is going to happen in the Philippines. It's not the place for me. Then they hear about all the corruption going on, which is ongoing with any country really, but they got their share out here like anywhere else. And the thing about the flood money, the ghost money, and how many people have profited in their pockets from this. The money didn't go to its source. I don't have to go into the politics of that, but it's just a fact. Okay. And there's corruption everywhere. Okay. And in every form of government, in every part of the government. Okay. People worry about the infrastructure out here. Well, it is what it is. It's not going to change much. The idea of living out here is as such. Okay. You got a mate, be happy with it. Do what you need to do to keep yourself happy. Keep track of your expenses. If it's things are a little bit tight for you, you might have to cut down on things that you don't need. Eat more local. Go into a whole, soliloquy about, oh, hey, let me count what I'm, I see this on shows all the time. They go through their little laundry list of what they spend every month. But, everybody's different. Everybody spends differently, and things do come up. They're right about that. Told about one guy that was going to, come out here before his retirement in 4 years. Got a $45,000 savings, and he thinks that, well, if he makes $1,000 a month, well, he could make, he figured he could live out here for $1,000 a month. Not if you have a girlfriend and everything else. No, you can't. And he figured he could get by with the 45 as a cushion and all that. But somebody did the math on some show. I think it was Mike's Philippines retirement. And I don't really think the guy he was talking about really exists, to tell you the truth. Mike likes to make up these stories. But nevertheless, he's making a point. And point well taken that, and yeah, it is a well point. It's well taken, People, countries now, and maybe totally deciding not to go in Southeast Asia at all. And there are other choices of countries that the cost of living is pretty, it's pretty good. You have to balance things out, though. How safe is the country? And what is the surviving economy out there? So call it surviving economy. Again, the price of food, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to list this. I wouldn't know in other countries. I know that in Southeast Asia, you got your choices of Vietnam, you got Laos, screw Laos. You have Malaysia, but unfortunately from Malaysia, you'd have to get this retirement visa thing to stay there. It's unfortunate because everything I read about Malaysia, it's a very good country to settle in. Excellent, excellent country. I know a lot about it, a lot about it. But then your next choice is Cambodia. And Cambodia is usually third on the list or fourth on the list of choices in Southeast Asia. So, you got your choices. Cambodia don't seem like a bad place. Something people should consider. The language barrier might be a problem. And that's why people prefer the Philippines because, well, the Philippines, there is the language, which is English, and it makes you feel a little more comfortable to get around and live out here. But adding up the problems, the infrastructure and everything else going on, the corruption, the accidents on the road. There's always so many accidents with motorcycles and vehicles. I can't even keep track of it. It's just amazing what I see on these feeds. I'm absolutely floored by what I see. That's why I never got a car, and that's why I don't want to drive a motorcycle. It seems also to me like Stephen, I talked about it before on what's the name of his name? That British guy, Stephen. He's down in Mindanao. And yes, it is true. All the people that are scratching for money seem to live down in Mindanao area. And it's unfortunate for him that he really kind of slashes the Philippines a lot. He really does. He doesn't realize how much he does. And he's toward Mindanao. So Dipperlag or whatever, he's close enough. I mean, he's taking chances because And this is a commentary, basically, on what's been going on. And as an observer for the past 3, 4 months, whatever it's been, I don't even keep track. What I have noticed, I've been a listener to some channels, and the thing I've noticed is that the people that are going to survive out here are the ones that don't come on the show and just totally trash the Philippines like Stefan or Steven is doing. And he's doing a lot of that. And I see it's pretty trendy. There's a lot of people coming on that something happened to them in the Philippines and they decide to just trash it. Well, there's something that actually attract them to come to the Philippines in the first place, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. But when something didn't go right, so I'm sorry that the comment section's not on. I didn't include it. It was not purposeful. Sorry about that. I would have allowed the comments, but I don't know how to do that in midstream, so it's just going to have to be without the comments on this one. I'll try to do something in the morning if I still could stream in the morning. Okay, I've had some problems with the streaming software, so but staying on that same note, yeah, I noticed it almost seems to me that there's a lot of people out there themselves that they're happy in the Philippines. Look, let me complete honestly for me. I'm not totally happy out here. I'm not. I'm not. I'll admit it. You know. Oh, I like being here. I mean, English people are friendly. There's a lot of good shit. But there are problems of living out here. It's not the perfect place to live, and it wasn't for my long-term partner. Um, if I had to make a decision to go somewhere voluntarily on my own, it probably may not be the Philippines. Surprise, surprise. Because there's never going to be, I mean, the Philippines is like 50 years beyond with infrastructure, everything else, other countries. I mean, it really is. I don't know where it falls on the list with other countries, but it's up there. And, you can never depend on the allocation of money to go for said projects out here because it never goes there because there's corruption. There's always corruption. Uh, and if you think it's going to, I mean, look, the malls are nice. You got these big old new condo buildings, everything else. And, makes you feel more westernized out here. And it doesn't seem like a third world or developing country when you see some modernization in the form of fancy, high tech malls. That just kind of brings you or grounds you. But you can't also spend your life, sitting in a mall somewhere and saying, okay, I just doesn't feel like third country now. I got all these stores I'm familiar with and all kinds of stuff I could buy here. It doesn't feel, it's very modern, it's clean, it's air conditioned. People basically spend their social life in malls. And that's a fact. There's times I spent times in malls too, if not just to cool off or nothing. Couldn't figure what the hell to do with myself when I was single and kind of visiting here. You wind up in a mall. That's where you wind up. But you're going to wind up there anyway if you really want to find something you want. There might be comfort food. You might like some of the fast food places. I'm not big on them, but I've eaten in them. You might get some more varieties of food. That's a plus. So, what you really have to do when you live out here is try thinking of something positive about the Philippines. Now, unfortunately for me, I've not really had that opportunity to go travel all over the Philippines, but there's a lot of reasons going over it in my past videos. As somebody mentioned on their show, the modes of transportation, it becomes a real hassle to get from one. Unlike other countries, they got direct ways of getting to different parts of that country. They might have a rail system or whatever. It's really, top tech. And Philippines is behind the times with this. So it's going to be a long time before they'll ever be at that level because they're paying more money to travel locally. And they're charging you airfare that might be as much as it might cost from here to go out of the country somewhere, to another Southeast Asian country. And it's preposterous. It's preposterous. As someone was just mentioning, it cost them, I forgot what the hell it cost them just to spend a couple of days in Cebu from another area. And they spent like, I don't know, 70,000 or more. You don't need to spend 70,000 for a couple of days, but from getting from point A to point B, according to where you are, It might be different forms of transportation that you have to take. It might be airfare, it might be a ferry. Okay. Then you got to, factor in, what's it going to cost you for accommodations? You got to stay somewhere unless you're going to stay on the street. You're going to eat, right? And if you're with somebody, you're paying for them too, for transportation, for food, and everything else, right? Okay. So there's so many variables in here. So, in regards to the Philippines, as far as being a progressive place, unfortunately, it's really not. It's really not. And rents are going, um, and everything else is going up. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, let's see, the exchange rate is like 59%, right? 59 point something today, or it was. You're getting more bang for your buck, but not really. Because every time, the, the Philippines economy gets a little hit, retailers is just going to raise their price on just about everything. So it's not really a win situation. Then, if you're a person who gets their money out of an ATM, don't forget your ATM fees. You're not going to get your ATM fees. You got a better way, with Schwab or something, where they get your money back at the end of the month or something. That's a better plan, of course. But a lot of people don't. Okay, a lot of people. We don't have that much viewers tonight because I don't think many people know I'm on, actually. Well, my comments section is off, and that's one. I didn't intentionally turn it off, just to let you know there. It just happens to be off. I didn't notice. And I got to figure out what I did right this time, where I was able to do a live without doing a schedule. See, the problem was, again, it was the scheduling box was always there. Even if I did schedule something, it never went on scheduled time. I tried fooling with it. I hit live, and lo and behold, I don't know. Anyway, I'm here. I'm on now. It's all that matters, and hopefully that will be ongoing and not have this problem because I don't have that mind, and I'm not, a brain child when it comes to computer shit and programming and so forth and so on. That's just not who I am on that. But then again, let's see. There was Steven, and I'm really sure that he makes up most of his stuff on there. It gets kind of irritating to hear that. It really does. Um, let's see. Okay, I want to go down to the list of what I had on my mind. There's a lot of stuff that I want to discuss. I've been off YouTube for, you know, a long time for me anyway. Because I've been on every damn day practically when I was, beyond the past 3 4 months. Um, so being off for 3 months or so, lifetime, maybe to me, maybe to some people too. And it's been boring on here, and I understand that completely. Man, let me tell you something. I understand that completely. I understand it completely because I'd get bored or something, and maybe I'd want to listen to some shows on here. I gotta tell you, uh, none of them were really keeping my attention. One guy on here had me listening to him because he's on burnout. He's only been here for about 2 weeks or so. That's that one guy on. I hate to promote his channel, but Tropical Martini. He's got some kind of attention deficit disorder or something on there. I'm not knocking the guy. It's just my observation, and just listen to him, and you'll understand. He will. I mean, I do this a lot myself, and I see a lot of other YouTubers do. But this guy, he's the icing on the cake with just kind of segueing right in mid sentence from one topic to another. He's trying to get a lot of medical things done, which is great, but it, let me see. He doesn't have. Okay, I guess he doesn't have at least a Social Security pension. I'm not sure. But I don't understand why he didn't take care of that with his Medicare, if that's what he has, while he was in the States. But now he's spending his money out of his pocket, getting veneers done, skin doctor. Uh, what procedures did he have? He's got some erosion in his throat, taking medicine for that. He's been for, I don't know, CT scans, this, that, this, that. He's spending like buku money. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's like on fast drive. I mean, I've never seen anybody on fast drive other than maybe Nico as far as speech. Nico goes like 80 miles per hour when he's all jacked up, you know. Uh, I don't know. He trips over himself when he talks. Again, this is an observation, not a put down time. I'm just making commentaries and what I hear and what I see. Let's not make any mistakes about it. We're not going down that road. And that's the other thing about I'm being congratulated for coming back on again, but that there's no guarantee on that because here's the thing about it. You have to think about it. I was fine being off for the past 3 or so months, and I wasn't pulling my hair out. I had the urge to want to do lives, but I wasn't even set up for it anyway because I totally got rid of my Google account. It was a hassle to go set it up again and get a new email and everything else. And I just said, fuck it. Until I had a wild hair and I said, oh, let me go for it. And I did. But it was not for the intent of staying on all the time because nothing changes really. I'm still going to be attacked and that's not going to stop. And, I have to ask myself so many times, what's the purpose of coming back on? I guess I had a lot of pent up in me and I wanted to get out because I wasn't able to do any live streams or anything. I got off. Seriously, got off. I mean, for people that don't believe me when I say I'm going to get off YouTube, I do. This time, the longest period of time I ever did that, however long it was. My shortest time was maybe the same the next day or 3 or 72 hours. And this was making people think, well, Frank must have died or wished that I did or whatever. No, I've been healthy. Everything is fine. Relationship's fine. I'm fine. So let's leave it at that. Unfortunately for Barry, he's been mouthing off quite a bit. Apparently, he's got some pretty good use of his phone when he wants to, except he just can't do a. Guess he can't do a live stream on here or something. But he's been kind of teasing me a bit, like to see you in here with me and blah blah. And I said before, no, he wouldn't want to see me in there with him. He really wouldn't, because I got videos of how he puts down the Filipino people, the government, and everything else, and I don't think they would like it. And believe me, I'd do it. You know I would, right? I mean, you don't have to guess on this, do you? I don't think so. No, you know I would. I've got all the recordings. They didn't go anywhere. So that's why I told him, I left a note for him on his comment section. I said, well, be careful what you wish for, you know. So for those that still feel that, you know, free Barry, well, you put your money where your mouth is, really, man. You want him out of here, you want to help the boy out, help him out. Stop making comments that, oh, yeah, well, I think he spent enough time in there. As I said, it's according to how you look at it. You're not in my shoes, okay? Not only did he do what he did, remember, he pleaded guilty to all 5 counts. He was guilty, period, of his own mouth. But it's immigration combination with the cyber libel counts. All right, and he's nonstop, and that's what got him in trouble. So I've been attacked in some way, not really attacked, but some people saying, well, you did wrong by getting him in there. It's not that you're innocent, Frank. Well, look, I never said that I was innocent. I can be reactive like other people can, but don't even put me in the same running track and field as Barry. Okay, Barry tops all. He has it. You're all familiar with his history. How could you not be? You know what he's done to people. You know what he's done with women. You know how he uses people. It's just record. It's record. It's not hearsay. You know what he's done. Until you wear my shoes, then you're never going to understand at all. Now, as far as trying to label somebody undesirable, he is. I mean, you can't get more, well, you could, but he is undesirable in every form and way, period. I've done good for people. I've done good for my community. I've done good for even the YouTube community. Okay. I've presented a lot of my own personal knowledge about a little bit about this and a little bit about that. And I think I've been a help to a lot of people that won't admit it, but that's okay. I don't need an award or medal for doing something good on YouTube. I've done plenty. But I've taken my punches too on here. Keep that in mind. Lots of them. Okay, so but not wanting to drag on with that kind of he deserves to be, and you have to think of everything he's done, and it's some kind of a fucking shitting contest, pissing contest going on here. I don't know, making me sound like I'm the guy with the black hat. Oh, look at Barry's record. It speaks for itself. All right, let's kind of move on with that. I want to just briefly touch on something here that I started to, as far as there's been a well, let's say a grand amount of people now deciding not to move to the Philippines. And I understand why, because it is going through some changes, and a lot of changes that people don't like. They thought it was a lot less expensive to live here, but lo and behold, everything goes up, even in the Philippines. But if you're going to live out here, let me just put it straight. Just accept the lousy infrastructure, the lousy internet, okay, the lousy food, unless you really like local food, okay. If you want comfort food, you're going to have to go to a big city. You're going to have to go to places like Landers or S&R if you want to find us. I went to a restaurant tonight and I said, "Fuck, I feel like a good old fashioned, double patty cheeseburger and a chicken Caesar salad." I broke down and said, "Fuck this." I tried doing a local food deal, with vegetables and stuff, and it's good. But I even bought a small ribeye to have, and you can't really, if you're from the Western culture, you can only go so far with adjusting or eating, the local foods out here. It gets old. See, Philippines is not known as some countries might be as being some of the greatest food in the world. You know, the only local food that I admit that's well Asian really is shomai. But the unfortunate thing about that, I could pop them like peanuts, but those little fuckers, when each shomai is about 100 calories. I could eat 20 of those damn things, you know, and I didn't realize how many calories they were. I've even had that in lieu of a regular dinner. I said, "Oh man, I don't know what to make. Let's go get some shomai." It's really good. You dip it in that hot sauce. It's like I don't know, there's vinegar and chili peppers in it and whatever. It's really really good. So I could sit there and just pop those things down, but I didn't realize that shit 100, 200 calories a piece or something like that. At least 100 calories. And according to what you have as ingredients, you got your choices. If they give you choices, beef would have the ones with crab or chicken in it and vegetables and so forth. But know what you're buying. But you have to buy it steamed. And that's usually how you get it. It's healthier to get it steamed. It doesn't taste good otherwise. That I found out anyway. So I do like shomai. I do like shomai. Um, just gotta watch what you eat. Um, what else is going on that I could be willing to talk about without getting terribly personal here? Nothing except the realization that I need to explore a different culture. I have not been fortunate to be able to travel the world like some other people do, like Big E. It's very fortunate for him, all these wonderful places that he gets to go. So kudos to him. for that, whether it's job related or it's not job related. But he gets to do these cool things, man. And I'm already 71. What are the odds I'm going to be able to travel anywhere else in the world, really? Europe, I'll never see. Not in my lifetime. I don't. Oh, no one's going to pay my way. Sure, I'd love to. That's not what I'm going to use money on for that. But if I had expendable money like that, really, uh, well, it's kind of up in the air where I'd like to go. I thought maybe Italy, and I still kind of would. I still kind of would. Um, like Big E was saying that he did a DNA test, and he's like, I don't know, 90% Austrian or something. Well, I do have Italian Italian genes that goes back to. I actually have some of the places that my ancestors have actually lived. I would love to go back, call it the homeland, and explore what the hell that's like. Except, Europe has become insanely expensive, and it's not for everybody. And if you're going to put yourself on a budget, that would be a hard place to go. Most places in Europe, as I understand, the nicer places. It seems that one of the night, which I'd never go to, is United Arab Republic. I mean, anywhere in that region is extraordinarily expensive, but it's so hot there, and it's true that they go directly from their office to their air conditioned car, from their air conditioned car to their air conditioned home, because it can get terribly hot there. Uh, it is the most cleanest places. Singapore is clean. If you're going to go anywhere out in that direction there, uh, I don't know. I think that would be a wonderful place to go to visit, I think, at the UAE, but I think you'd have to have that would be nearly impossible. Why don't you just say you want to go live in Monaco? And not many people are able to live in Monaco. So, to answer, well, a question that hasn't been asked, would Philippines still be my choice if I had a chance to pick another country to live in? Ah, boy, that's that's a hard one, really. I would like to experience some other cultures. I really would. But I'd like to do that with my partner, really. I mean, I don't mind living in the Philippines. I've been here long enough that I've been able to adjust to most of the cultural differences. Not all of them. Not all of them. But, you know, you kind of acclimate to everything while you're out. I'll agree with you on that. If you want to really start making all the lists and everybody's complaining about the infrastructure and everything else, well, you knew that when you first started visiting the country, right? You should have made your decision back then. But, your gonads were speaking ahead of your mind, and your gonads, put the horse before the cart. Your gonads were talking because, you met this good looking Filipino. And yes, there are so many sweet looking Filipinos out here. It's amazing. It's amazing. And there is. And you fell in love, or basically you were infatuated with some chick out here. Come on, that's what it was, right? And that kind of pushed everything in fast drive. And you didn't really give yourself a chance to really spend enough time out here to really try to mesh with the culture, understand the culture, explore the ins and outs, the infrastructure or lack of, These are all factors if you're going to get involved with a Filipino and you are going to decide to live out. It's not just whether you have enough money to live out here. Of course, you got to take that into consideration. But I'm just saying, it's a lot more than that. And yes, it's been getting really tiresome listening to some of these regulars on here. And it seems that they don't know how to talk about anything else but I mean, it's rare that they talk world issues. They might throw them in, but these shows are not only about the Philippines. You're living life, you're alive, and there's only so much you can talk about the Philippines unless there's different events. Now, I could see you doing a show listing what has happened in the Philippines. There's a big accident or a big fire, make it like a news show, uh, or a big bust, a big drug bust, or whatever, or some kind of a celebration going on out here. Sure, you can do that. Make it newsworthy, besides also being entertainment at the same time. And not everybody's capable of doing that. If you put your mind to it, I'm sure you could probably do that. But it seems to be that they're just bitching and whining about the same shit all the time. They use different circus tricks to talk about the same thing all the time. I mean, how often could you? I don't know. I don't know. How often could you talk about, you know, how many people have been ripped off by Filipinas, and talk about this girl and that girl, and she took this guy. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. It happens to a lot of us. It happened to me in some ways. It's something that we don't want to experience, but sometimes it does happen. Sometimes it's total stupidity on your part that you don't see the red flags that are right in front of you. They're right in front of you, but you don't want to see it. So I don't know what to tell you about that. You know, stop thinking what you're going at. That's I can say that much, and that's a start. And you know, I know you want to win these chicks over, so you start to get, well, buy her this, buy her that, buy her dinners, take her out here, take her out there. Remember, it's going to be for your own entertainment too, because keep that in mind for yourself. It's not just for her. Okay, but just don't kind of entice her all the time to make her want you more. She knows probably already what she's doing. Okay, she knows what she's doing already. She's got the bait out on the line and she's waiting to see. She's a little bobber in the water and she's going to get that thing's going to be bobbing up and down. You're grabbing that hook and she's going to know. Yeah, he's taking the bait. He's taking the bait. It's exactly what he's doing. So I don't know what to say about that. It has been said before. I understand completely as you're getting older and you hear all these stories about even the ones that managed, to come out here, and they find themselves without a partner. And whatever reason, they ran out of money or this or that or this, that they find themselves in a really bad situation. Maybe they don't even have somebody to be a caretaker for them. They're in a really bad position. Some have got no money to even get back to, or maybe they got nothing to get back to. Maybe they got nothing to get back to. Find themselves in a really bad predicament out here. So know what you're doing, okay? There's no law that says that you have to stay out here if you don't want. As long as you're legally able to leave, then get the fuck out of here, man. Maybe it's a nicer place. You should probably should explore more Southeast Asian countries before you make the big jump to live in the Philippines because it's not all peaches and cream out here, man. And there's a whole, I don't know, I call them laundry list, whatever, that I can go through and I could list all the negatives, but there are positives. You're just going to want to see the positives. But you get so involved, maybe some things have happened to you and you get jaded with everything, or, maybe you had a problem with somebody out here that puts you in a very precarious situation. It doesn't make you feel good about the Philippines, doesn't it? It doesn't really make you feel good. Yeah, the truth is out here, and I will agree with a lot of vloggers that talk about this. You got to watch how you blink your eye. Just be careful. Don't do what Jim did on Jim's Asian Adventures. He totally fucked himself up ever going back to the Philippines. He's trying to build up Cambodia, which is probably a good place. Don't get me wrong. Probably a good place. I think it probably is compared to the other Southeast Asian. Okay, but he's the kind of guy that, he finds trouble. It's not that trouble finds him. He just does a lot of stupid shit. He's trying to make his wife jealous in the Philippines, and he's hanging around some chick that, man, she looks like she's 15 years old. Oh, and the best one yet, people's psychology, man. Jim was walking around the street because he doesn't always sleep at night very well. And he drinks like a fish, although he claims he quit. He didn't quit. He was in the middle of the road, 3 in the morning, in Cambodia, and Hong Kong, whatever the hell the name of it, Khao Kong, in his fucking brief underwears with no shirt on. Go see, I'm not kidding. Blogging, doing a show, 3 o'clock in the morning, which you're crazy to be out at 3 o'clock in the morning anywhere in Southeast Asia by yourself. That's when I know these people are losing it. We got so many personalities on here. Like the new guy that came on, Tropical Martini. All right, I'm not going to jump into this because then I'd be getting into my old routine again of kind of pointing out some of the downfalls of the people on here. And I want to try not to be too negative on this shit. Because I don't even know if there's a future of me staying on here again. I had a wild hair decided, and I don't know if that's going to be a continuing thing on here. What do you think is going to change? It don't matter. Even if I totally change my topic matter on here, I'm still going to be attacked. That's just the way it is. So there's things you can do, of course. Okay, just eliminate the comments section if that's what you want. Or just upload or something. Tried that in the past. It never worked. I always wound up going live again, right? Only because it was that much easier instead of uploading something and all that crap. So, by the way, I did get rid of I still have it here. I got the Starlink, but now I'm on PLDT. Starlink decided to raise their price from $2,800, which was high enough, to $3,800 and raised it $1,000. I said, screw that. I'm not a business here. We just use a computer casually around here. And, it's not like I have a business that I really need to get Starlink, to pay 3,800 pesos a month just to get on this boob tube here. It's not. So we went to PLDT, which is 2,000 pesos less than Starlink. We still have the whole setup. I own it. Go on anytime I want. I can get it linked up again. But the bad thing with Starlink, of course, satellite, if it's a heavy clouded day, you're not going to get your internet. Okay? So there are downfalls with it. I mean, you can take this anywhere you go. Take it on a boat somewhere. As long as you got a power source. Okay? I mean, it's great. You could be in the middle of a desert, top of a mountain, whatever. You could take this sucker with you if you got a power source. That's the great thing about it. I mean, the technology is fantastic. And they've used satellite systems for years to serve, the armed services and all that stuff. It's nothing. The concept is nothing new. Something like that available to the public and all that is great. We've had satellite phones, I guess. But I thought this was a great idea. But then when they started getting greedy, and you had to buy the equipment, remember that, which we did. But then when they were raised, I thought 28 was too high. Then they raised it to 30, and I said, screw that. I understand I've had an office, I don't. I don't. It's more of a novelty than anything else. Sure, I own the equipment. I can sell it anytime I want, but who knows? I may decide to get on it again for some reason. But I'm happy with PLDC because it's not like we have a shitload of people 20, 30 people with something using a computer at the same time over here. It's not a big deal. And I don't need to pay that much for internet. It don't matter whether you have a lot of money or a little money, whatever you're worth. It don't matter why pay more for something that you don't have to. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, it's that time of night. Betty bye for me. I got to wind down over here. So I managed to get on. I kind of circumvented some streaming software problems I'm having. Hopefully, I don't know if I'll be doing a show in the morning like I normally do. I may not do another show for another 3 months again or something. I have no idea. I'm not going to get rid of the channel or nothing like that. Uh, there's just some doubts that I'm having right now whether to continue because I know it's not going to change on here. It's not going to change, and I'm trying to get out of all this crap. There's been too much shit going on. I want to get out of. Uh, had a little bit of enticement really to go back on again. And sure, I do miss vlogging. I absolutely do. I've been doing it for a long time. And that's how a lot of us survive out here. Well, monetarily, some do. I never had to survive being monetized, but I just enjoy the banter and whatnot on here, the positive stuff anyway, and be able to express yourself and speak to other foreigners, although I don't like hanging around foreigners. It's not my endeavor. I'd never live in, you know, Demagetti, never. Too troublesome foreigners. I just something I won't do. If I want to be around be around Western culture people, I wouldn't have left the United States. I mean, what the fuck? You want to understand and explore another culture, so why the hell I want to hang around people the same Nah, I'm not here for that. I'm here for my woman, and I am here for a different culture too. I absolutely am. And I tried to learn as much as I can about it. My downfall is learning the language. I only know a little bit of it. It's kind of hard at my age to absorb things like a younger person would actually be able to do. Anyway, I got to get off this thing now. I took a chance and I came on, and yeah, streaming software it allowed me to go live. I didn't see that goddamn schedule box come out. That was a problem. The schedule box would appear, and I couldn't go live, and you had to set a schedule on there. And even when I did, when that time came or something, I didn't go on. It's not like there was a live box in there. Okay, you're ready to go live now. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Just the time you put schedule in for. So I mean, that didn't work that way, did it? Well, not for me, it didn't. Anyway, just kind of rehash something again. Make your evaluations on Barry's situation based on his history and what he's actually done. I get tired of hearing that, really. That's why I don't even like to talk about it anymore. He'll be out when he's out, when they decide to release him. He'll probably be in there a total of 2.5 years, maybe with some time served with the Bickerton and the Billy Bid situation. But as long as he doesn't pay, the court ordered penalties and all that. He's going to remain in there. That's whether he's enjoying himself or not. I doubt he's enjoying himself very much. But as I said, I tell people put your money where your mouth is, man. If you really feel that he served too much time in there, bail him out, get him out, let him go home to Alabama. Talk is cheap, you know. I guess if I wasn't in the formula where he didn't owe me money, maybe somebody would come forward. But like I told Big E, I said, that's lint money. That's pocket lint money to him. I'm assuming so, anyway. I'm assuming so. That he's got a few bucks. If he believes in Barry that much, well, I know he believes that Barry committed crimes. He won't say it up front. He's thinking that, well, what he's thinking is that all Barry did was some insults. But this is where you can't get through to people. It's just not an insult when somebody called you an idiot. This guy went around calling me a child predator. Okay? Let's just, you know, talk about this for a minute or two again. It's different. Someone could call you an asshole or call you broke or call you ugly or whatever. That's just typical childish shit on here. But you're in a whole different ball game. You're in a whole different territory when you are calling somebody a sexual predator when they're not. Okay, that's a whole different feeling. If Biggie, if you can't understand that or anybody else, I guess you never will, because you're not in my shoes. Because it's not happening to you. Just think about it. You got this great job, and I have to use Biggie as an example. You got this great job, right? So if somebody goes around and says, this guy's a child predator, he's a pervert, he's a freak, and decided to destroy your life, family, career, your job, everything else, your whole career, based on false bullshit, has a domino effect to it. Keep that in mind. There's a domino effect to this. So put yourself differently. Because it's not happening to you. It's happening to me. And it maybe other people too. All right. So it is right and what's wrong is wrong. We're not always all right. We're not always all wrong. But in his case, all he's ever done was wrong. He deserves to be where he is and even more, as far as I'm concerned. He still hasn't stopped, really. And he's been incarcerated this whole time. And he never stopped. They're allowing him to use his phone but not to put any live things on. But he still uses his phone to make insults to me. Wait till you're in here. I'm going to do this and do that. Blah, 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 blah. No, he wouldn't want me in there. Trust me. He wouldn't want me in there. I'll leave it at that. I got to get off here. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry that I didn't put the comment section on so you could have your own opinion. It was purely by mistake that I had it turned off. So I have to say goodnight to you. And maybe or maybe not, I'll be on in the morning. I don't know. It's still got to make a decision. I'm kind of out for lunch with this, even being back on YouTube again, because I'm thinking the same shit's going to go on. And I'm just trying to get rid of a lot of other shit. Was doing very well for that 3 or so months I've been off. I didn't need to be on. I didn't feel that much of an urge to be on. I had some moments when I did, but it was, quickly gone. It was better being a fly on the wall, not getting involved with the antics and politics of YouTube. And it looks like I'm probably not going to be on, if not regularly, if not at all. I'm still going to think about this. I may be on in the morning tomorrow. It's Halloween, so I may do a show tomorrow. And we're going to see what goes on from there. But I tell you what, if I go off again, that's definitely going to be permanent because I can't keep on doing this. I got to make up a lot. And that's just what it comes down to. And a lot of people have to make that decision too, decide what they're going to do. They really want to get involved with the politics of having a live show on YouTube, being a vlogger on YouTube. There's a lot you have to consider. It wasn't worth it for me. All the trouble I went through on here, it's just not worth it. There's too many people with psychological problems on here. You got to have a institution. With that being said, I bid you good night.